What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NBA DFS contenders on FanDuel for Wednesday, April 21st. Now be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. And finally, let me know in the comment section who is your favorite and least favorite of my contenders for today's slate. We are rounding out the bottom of my top 10 with Christian Wood, Steph Curry, Michael Porter Jr., RJ Barrett, and Andrew Wiggins on the outside looking in. Who will be my favorites, my top 5 plays for today? It's time to find out. First up at number 5, we're going to the power forward spot. We're grabbing DARIUS BAZLEY. He is 6K, projected for 31.5. The goal is 43. He's in the optimal lineup 18% of the time. Now, BAZLEY's been playing pretty big minutes since his return. I've got him in for 32 here, but he's also in a really nice pace-up spot against a Pacers team that's missing a lot of their front court. Probably no Sabonis and no Turner and potentially no Goga. It's going to open things up at least a little bit for BAZLEY, especially at that 6K price tag. So normally a 0.82 fantasy point per minute guy. In this spot, with the increased role of having half of his own team out, 0.99 is where I've got him today. 24% usage, 17 points, 8 boards. You get 2 assists. You maybe get a stock and a half, something in that neighborhood. But I actually really do like this matchup. And at 6K, I don't think it's crazy if DARIUS BAZLEY goes for north of 40 fantasy points, which is exactly what you're going to need on a night like tonight. Next up at number 4, we're going to the small forward spot, and we're grabbing Anthony Edwards. He's 6,900, projected for 35.5. The goal's 46. He's in the optimal lineup 20% of the time. Now, Minnesota is running back the exact same matchup as yesterday against Sacramento. We know how good it was yesterday. It's no different today. Sacramento's defense, terrible. It's a pace neutral spot for Minnesota, but it's an up-tempo matchup as fast as it's going to be on this slate. Well, second fastest, actually. We'll get to that in a bit. 35 minutes for Edwards, just over a fantasy point per minute, 27% usage, 22, 5, and 3, 2 stocks as well. But again, what we're looking for here is filling a small forward position with a guy in an exceptional matchup that plays north of 30 minutes at about a fantasy point per minute rate. I don't really see any direction else that I would want to go. Getting anybody from Minnesota and Sacramento feels great on a day like today, where we've got a couple games that are basically useless, even on a 12-gamer. No surprises on this one either. Number 3, shooting guard Bradley BEAL, still 8,500 on FanDuel, projected for 44. The goal is 52. He is in the optimal lineup 20% of the time. BEAL's just back, so 36 minutes, 1.2 fantasy points per minute, 33% usage, 30 real points. 4.5 boards, 4.5 assists, you get a steal, and you get a massive pace-up spot, even for Washington, taking on Golden State. These are 2 of the 3 fastest teams in the league. For Washington to get a pace-up spot, it takes a lot, because Washington is quite clearly the fastest team in the league, but they're expecting to be 2 possessions over their normal averages. Love getting to BEAL here. Certainly like Russell Westbrook, but the price is a little bit higher, and it's just a little bit more efficient for our next 2 guys. But BEAL at 8,500, he's not going to be 8,500 for long. Now at number 2, we're staying at the shooting guard spot, paying a little bit more though, 9,400 for Paul George, projected for 50. The goal's 55, and he is in the optimal lineup 29% of the time. You see we're taking a big step up in tier from George all the way down to BEAL. 9% is a lot on this slate. Big time gap. No Kawhi Leonard, still no Patrick Beverley, still no Serge Ibaka, but no Kawhi is the big piece. Paul George sees a massive usage bump. So 36 minutes, 1.4 fantasy points per minute, 37% usage, 31 real points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 stocks, and a pace-up spot against Memphis that I actually think could be even faster with no Jonas Valanciunas on the floor. That's potential they get Jaren Jackson Jr. back as well. Should pick up the speed at least a little bit. Anyway, Paul George, $9,400. You really can't go a different direction. Paying up for him is so efficient because he becomes a completely different player with Kawhi Leonard off the floor. 1.4 fantasy points per minute is a truly high-end rate. We're talking about top 10, top 15 in the league, and you're getting the full freight in minutes. Obviously, everybody's going to be a little nervous that he's going to get scratched at 10:01 once this game locks, but there's no way around it today. Paul George is the second best play on the slate. Now, before we get to the guy that is the number 1 contender, one last reminder, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Then head on over to Twitter and follow me at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. And finally, hop into the comments section and let me know who is your favorite contender, your least favorite contender, and who do you think should be on this list that you do not see? And finally, the number one contender at the point guard spot, that's $9,400 Kyrie Irving, projected for 54. The goal is 54. He's in the optimal lineup 33% of the time. Now, Kyrie's playing more than 36 minutes, or at least he has been. It's looking like Brooklyn has 8 active bodies for tonight's game, which is interesting. That could open up a little bit more. I don't think it would change Kyrie all that much, but it does make it feel a little safer. 1.46 fantasy points per minute, 33% usage, 29 real points, 10 assists. So a double-double with assists, which is something you don't see all that often. Still 5 boards, 2 stocks, pace neutral spot against Toronto, but this is not the same Toronto team that we are used to. Even if they have the same guys on the floor, I do like this spot for Kyrie because no James Harden, no Kevin Durant. This is his show. It's a lot like Paul George's situation, although I just think the upside is a little bit higher for Kyrie. So Kyrie Irving, the number one contender for today's slate. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NBA DFS contenders on FanDuel for Wednesday, April 21st. Process show is in the books, 12 gamer. Go back and check that out. We walked through a lot of stuff today. DraftKings version of this video is around here somewhere. Strategy show with Laffy today. Bring your coffee. We're going to be there for a bit. And then live before lock tonight, myself and Greg Ehrenberg. 5 games locking at 7. We're going to have a ton of news. You do not want to miss it. That is the spot you need to be from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Good luck tonight, everybody. I'll catch you guys again tomorrow morning with another edition of the Contenders.